She must have realized that she couldn't possibly reach it in time. But perhaps she didn't even have one. My throat was tight with excitement and fear, for I was afraid of Victoria.
But what was it?
What happened next was incredibly fast. The girl leaned forward and, clamping a mysterious hold over her huge opponent, levered him over her shoulder, sent him crashing against the wall. Next, she sprang like a cat onto the table, then to the top of the cupboard, and from there she leaped down on another boardie, swinging both arms and legs. There was a hoarse cry, and the second attacker sank on the floor with his frog's head lying at such an odd angle. It was obvious his neck was broken. The smallest of the three brawlers now seemed to waver. He stepped back and threw a short dagger. But already Victoria was on him. She seized him by the knife wrist, twirled him about like a toy balloon, and threw him against a corner of the table. He stood on the floor like a broken block and lay motionless, apparently dead. We had watched this extraordinary scene with bated breath. Victoria looked less winded than we were. But I'd never seen anything like that. I'd take my hat off to that girl. In fact, she was more than today. The young lady over to look at the smashed door, which must have been one of the inner doors of her apartment. Then she examined the boilies who were strewn about the floor. Bending over them, she took a small round object out of the chest, raised it to her lips, and spoke briefly. "Come quickly, bring the circle." We understood. She was calling for someone. Then she sat in an armchair and remained perfectly still, staring into space. A minute later, two hippies, a man and a woman, came into the room. They both belonged to the little troupe of acrobats. The man whistled in admiration. "Nice work," he said. "I suppose they wanted the papers you took from them." "I suppose so." "Are they dead?" "Yes, it couldn't be helped. If there had only been two of them, or if I'd known they were so clumsy, I could have spared them. But obviously they meant to kill me." "All right. Do we operate now?" "We operate." The man opened a small satchel from his bag. He took out a kind of shining carpet, which he spread on the floor, and then an apparatus that looked something like a vacuum cleaner. In a way, that was what it was, but of a very special sort. With the help of the woman accompanying her, he placed one of the bodies on the shining carpet, pointed the tube and tried to funnel it towards the body and turned on the apparatus. The body was sucked into the funnel as if it had been turned to liquid or gas. In a little over a minute, nothing was left of it. The other two bodies were given the same treatment. The hippie looked around the room. "Any other damage?" he asked. "The door. Oh, 7. I sat down next to the woman, who made no sign as before. I took the cigarette from her fingers and stuck it between her lips. Pushing her forward, I leaned over behind her and undid the buttons descending the length of her back and over her rump. I slid the dress off. There wasn't anything underneath. She seemed vaguely to sense that something was happening, and bending her head over her now naked breasts, drew her arms off the table. Her breasts heavy, prominent, and the nipples soft. I ran my hands over her waist, along her thighs, and finally buried them in the soft flesh under the fur. Unresponsive until now, she began to rock from side to side. Somewhere in her was a faint, wakeful gleam of consciousness. I picked her up and laid her on the table, her legs sagging over the edge. I said, "Come on, we're going for a walk." I carried her through the Marxist archway and across the marble floor. There was no one in the swimming pool. The sounds of the room were deadened in the air and seemed to come from a distance.
Like that.
Just the one, it'll be cool.
Very slowly.
A bit more of the...
The ones to white your hands on the when it's resting. Gold line. Oh, I see. Yeah,
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. Hung around for a long, long years. I've stole many a man's soul of faith. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moments of doubt and pain. Made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands, sealed his fate.
No, I know, but I just don't know. I don't have to be singing double time because the bass isn't playing it.
but the rhythm's still playing.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it sounds nice if you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that first verse should be quite close to the way you were singing at the end of the night.
Yeah, okay.
Here we go.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. Stole many a man's soul of faith. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moments of doubt and pain. Made damn sure the Pilate washed his hands and sealed his face. Pleased to meet you, hope you guess my name. But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game. Stuck around St. Petersburg when I saw it was a time for a change. Killed the Tsar and his ministers. Anastasia screamed in vain. I rode a tank, held a generous rank when the blitzkrieg raged and the bodies stank. Pleased to meet you all. Hope you guess my name. Yeah. What's puzzling you is just the nature of my game. Yeah. I watch you gleam while your kings and queens fought for 10 decades for the gods they made. I shouted out who killed the Kennedys when after all it was you and me. So please let me introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I lay traps for troubadours who get killed before they reach Bombay. Pleased to meet y'all now. Hope you guess my name. Yeah. What's puzzling you is the nature of my game. Yeah. Boom, boom, get down. Yeah.